Hello everybody, I'm Becky. I'm living in my van Seymour for the next year, trying to get to all 50 states and all 63 national parks. The latest national park that I went to is Big Bend National Park in Texas. It's one of the most remote national parks in America, and it's also quite large. So the question is Big Bend worth it if you have a bum knee like me? If this looks familiar to you, a knee brace, or maybe a large, extra large bottle of ibuprofen, then like me, you might have a bad knee. 2 years ago, I walked the Camino de Santiago, which is a 500-mile walk across Spain that took me 6 weeks. I walked 10 to 20 miles a day, no problem. Fast forward to now, 2 years later, and I struggle to walk about 2 miles on my right knee, which is my bad knee. But I still can manage to make parks like Big Bend totally worth it. And I'm here to tell you all the things that you should do, even if you have a bad knee. Things to do at Big Bend National Park. The first one that I would say is to camp in the park. There are 3 campgrounds at Big Bend National Park, from west to east. Their Cottonwood campground is on the west. Chisos Basin is in the middle, high up in the mountain. And on the east is the Rio Grande Village campground. Like most national park campgrounds, sometimes they take a bit of pre-planning to get a reservation, but I managed to get reservations in both the Cottonwood and the Rio Grande Village in the last minute. And so it is possible indeed to get a last minute reservation. And I highly recommend it because the park is so large. It's about a 2-hour drive across from west to east. It solves your problem of having to leave every night and drive all the way back in if you're staying outside of the park. So my first recommendation is stay inside the park if you're able to. And if you're not a camper, I think Chisos Basin also has some lodges that you can stay in. The second thing I would recommend to do in Big Bend National Park with a bum knee is to go on the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive. It requires no knee stability or strength. It's a beautiful scenic drive. It has lots of pull-offs, overlooks, scenic vistas to look at. They're well marked on the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive and totally worth it. You never even have to get out of your car, but even if you do, it's just a short walk to a beautiful picturesque view. The one caveat I'll give about the Ross Maxwell Scenic Route is that the signage to get there is not great, and I missed the turn going about 30 miles out of my way. So my hot tip here is the turn is actually the same turn for the Cottonwood campground. And so that's the turn that you take to start the Ross Maxwell Scenic Drive. One important thing to mention is there's very little cell service or Wi-Fi within the park. And so you're really going to want to take these tips with you or download your maps, etc. because once you're in the park, you might not have great service or GPS to get you through the park. The third thing I would recommend in Big Bend National Park with a bum knee are the easy hikes. There's plenty of hikes in the park, but some of them are easy. I did the Lower Burro hike, which was along that scenic drive. I also did the Santa Elena Canyon hike, which was at the very end of the scenic drive. But all throughout the way, there's a very short, I think it's called the Window Trail that's up in Chisos Basin, that apparently you see the most beautiful sunset there at night. And so all of those hikes and many others are very easy if you're able to walk a little bit on your bum knee like I am. The fourth thing that I would recommend that you do is stargaze. Because Big Bend is so remote, there is very little light pollution, and the stars are absolutely spectacular. If you're at one of the campgrounds, pull up one of the picnic tables into a clearing, lay on it like I did, and just stare up at the stars. The longer you lay there, the more your eyes adjust to the light, and it's like nothing I've ever seen. It was absolutely beautiful. If you're there like I was during a full moon, then watching the moon rise over the mountains is another absolutely beautiful thing to do. I'd never seen that before, and it was absolutely spectacular. Highly recommended. My fifth recommendation would be the hot springs in Big Bend National Park. Soak that knee. I know sitting in hot water is one of the best things you can do for inflammation to any part of your body, and the hot springs is closer to the east side of the park and absolutely wonderful. It's a short walk from the parking lot to the hot springs, and it felt great after a day of hiking to soak in there for a while to ease those joints of ours. My sixth recommendation would be the Fossil Discovery exhibit. This is usually not my kind of thing. I'm not really into dinosaurs or even really museums, but I really found that their little exhibit they had, again, I think that's the kind of the center of the park, was really worth a stop. Big Bend National Park has 130 million years of fossil record, which is very uncommon. So they can track back the dinosaurs, the animals, the water, the sea life, since it used to be completely underwater millions of years ago. And the fossil exhibit really takes you through those things in a very quick and expedited fashion, and really worth a quick 10-minute stop to look through that. The last tip for visiting Big Bend National Park is to take your time getting there. It's one of the most remote national parks in the system, and it's really not on the way to anywhere. But if you take your time getting there with a few key stops, you'll really enjoy the route like I did. A few of the great stops I made were in Marfa, Texas, which is a really quirky, artsy town in the middle of nowhere. They have the world's smallest Prada, a bunch of cute art exhibits, some great restaurants. It's really worth a stop. And if you're kind of into the odd or supernatural things, you can try to spot the Marfa lights too at night at sunset that go off every evening. Another option is to stop in Marathon, Texas, maybe on your way out. They have a beautiful hotel there called the Gage Hotel. It's got a spa. I did not stay at the spa, but if after all of this hiking and viewing and expending your energy on your bum knee, maybe a nice spa treatment at the Gage Hotel in Marfa would be a nice treat for yourself. So is Big Bend National Park worth it with a bum knee? I can say without a doubt, it is. Bring your knee brace, bring your ibuprofen, and enjoy the heck out of it. If you'd like to see more videos like this as I continue to travel the US with my bum knee and my van, Seymour, please like this video or consider subscribing to the channel. Follow me along. Thanks, everybody. See you on the road.